Imagine a world where every door is closed before you even knock, where every dream is questioned, and every effort is doubted. This is the story of a boy born into a place that never wanted him to rise. From the first steps he took, the world seemed determined to push him down, to whisper that he would never succeed. His school was full of faces that judged before they knew him, teachers who ignored him, and friends who laughed at his dreams. Every day was a battle, every small hope met with harsh reality. Yet, somewhere deep inside, a fire refused to die. Against every insult, every failure, every unfair rule, he began to fight, quietly, patiently, and with courage that no one saw at first. This is not just a story of struggle. It is the story of survival, of triumph, and of a boy who refused to let the world define him. He was born in a neighborhood where hope felt rare, and dreams were often crushed before they could grow. From the first day of school, he realized that the world was not designed for boys like him. Classrooms that should have been safe became arenas of judgment. Teachers who were supposed to guide him often looked past him, and classmates who laughed at his efforts made him question his worth. At home, struggles were no easier, with money tight and worries constant. Yet he learned to find small moments of joy and courage inside himself. Every setback, every harsh word, and every failure added weight to his young shoulders, but also fueled a determination that refused to break. As he grew, the fire inside him grew stronger, whispering that the world could try to hold him down, but it could never stop him from reaching for something greater. This is the beginning of his fight, his journey, and his rise. From the moment he could walk, the world seemed heavier than it should be. Streets that should have been playgrounds were full of danger and judgment, and even neighbors often looked at him with suspicion or indifference. His family tried to survive, but money was always tight, meals were sometimes skipped, and arguments over bills or lost jobs were constant. He watched his parents work tirelessly, their faces lined with worry, and he learned early that life demanded strength he was not yet ready to feel. School was no refuge either. From the first day, teachers seemed to notice everyone else, leaving him invisible, and classmates found joy in teasing him for the way he spoke, the color of his skin, or the clothes he wore. Every insult, every shove, every whispered, "You can't do it," pressed down on him like heavy stones. But slowly he began to notice a spark inside that refused to die. While other children played without fear, he learned to measure every word, every step, every hope. Quietly he dreamed of a world beyond these streets, imagining doors that would open for him, even if no one around him believed they would. These early struggles planted both pain and resilience, shaping a boy who would not simply survive but eventually rise, proving that the world could not define him before he wrote his own story. As he grew older, school became a battlefield, not a place of learning. Every morning felt like stepping into a world that questioned his worth, where teachers overlooked his efforts and classmates found reasons to humiliate him. He raised his hand with answers that were ignored, worked hard on projects that were dismissed, and tried to fit in, but the walls of judgment never seemed to crumble. Outside the classroom, the streets and playgrounds mirrored the same harsh reality. Boys who were supposed to be friends turned into rivals, mocking his accent, the color of his skin, and the clothes that revealed his family's struggle. Small victories were rare, and failures felt enormous, each one echoing the world's silent message that he did not belong. Yet amidst this struggle, moments of courage began to emerge. He learned to keep his head high when teased, to practice in silence when talent went unnoticed, and to read books that opened windows to worlds where boys like him could succeed. That he began noticing adults who offered brief encouragements, coaches, neighbors, even a teacher who smiled at his small achievements. But these were few, like faint lights in a long tunnel. Every insult and every door slammed in his face strengthened a quiet determination that no one could see. He learned not just to survive the cruelty but to sharpen himself against it, preparing for a future that the world refused to hand him. Though days were long and often lonely, he found a rhythm in resilience. Every step forward, no matter how small, felt like rebellion against a society that tried to hold him down. In the shadows of ridicule and doubt, he quietly began building a foundation that would later support a life of triumph, proving that the world's judgment could never erase the fire growing inside him. Despite the relentless challenges at school and in his neighborhood, he slowly began to notice a spark within himself, a quiet voice that refused to be silenced. Books became his refuge, each page revealing stories of people who faced impossible odds and rose above them. He found heroes in history, athletes, writers, and leaders who were told they could not succeed, yet they did. Each time he faced ridicule or failure, he reminded himself of these examples, whispering that if they could fight, so could he. Slowly, he learned to transform anger and frustration into fuel for growth. That he began practicing skills in secret, drawing, writing, and even speaking in front of mirrors to strengthen his confidence. Small achievements, like finishing a difficult homework assignment or standing up to a bully, felt monumental. Each step, though unseen by most, built a foundation of resilience. He realized that no matter how hard the world tried to push him down, he could push back in his own way. Encouragement came rarely, but when it did, from a kind teacher, a supportive neighbor, or even a friend who truly believed in him, it was like sunlight breaking through storm clouds, and he clung to it desperately. His determination became sharper, not loud but steady, like an engine running quietly beneath a rough exterior. The boy who was once ignored began to understand that power did not always come from recognition but from belief in oneself. Each day, he stood taller in his mind, preparing silently for a world that was not ready for him yet. The inner fire he had discovered would soon carry him beyond the streets, the classrooms, and the whispers of doubt, into a future that he would carve with courage, persistence, and the refusal to surrender to a world that never wanted him to succeed. Just when he thought he was beginning to find his path, life hit him with challenges that seemed impossible to overcome. Opportunities he had worked for vanished without explanation, teachers who once showed brief support turned indifferent, and peers who had been silent critics now openly doubted him. Each failure felt heavier than the last, each disappointment slicing into his confidence like a sharp blade. There were nights when he lay awake, questioning if all his efforts were meaningless, wondering if the world's message that he would never succeed was somehow true. Despite the pain, he refused to give up. Every setback became a lesson, teaching him patience, strategy, and how to endure. He learned that life was not fair, but fairness was not necessary for success. He discovered the strength to rise after every fall, the courage to face criticism with quiet defiance, and the resilience to keep trying even when it seemed no one cared. Heartbreak came in different forms, lost friendships, missed opportunities, and personal failures, but he used each as fuel to sharpen his focus. He realized that these obstacles did not define him, his response to them did. While the world seemed to conspire against him, he began to build inner armor, strengthening his mind and spirit against despair. He trained himself to see failure as temporary, not permanent, and to find small victories even in the darkest days. Through these trials, he grew in ways that success alone could never teach. Each struggle was shaping him, molding a boy who could survive anything, who could fight back silently, steadily, and with determination. The world that never wanted him to succeed was testing him, but it was also unknowingly preparing him for triumphs that no one yet imagined. After countless setbacks, he began noticing small victories that no one else seemed to celebrate. Finishing a difficult assignment, earning a compliment from a teacher, or simply standing up to a bully without fear became milestones that quietly strengthened him. Each achievement, though minor to outsiders, was a brick in the foundation of his confidence. He realized that success did not always arrive as a grand announcement but often as subtle moments of growth that built resilience and courage. That he started to develop skills that gave him a sense of purpose. Writing, drawing, speaking, and even helping younger children became ways to express himself and to prove, first to himself and then to others, that he had value and potential. Encouragement came in glimpses, a nod from a mentor, a smile from someone who noticed his effort. But he learned to rely on himself above all. The quiet strength he cultivated made him unstoppable in ways that fame or recognition never could. Each small victory inspired the next, and the boy who was once invisible began to emerge as someone impossible to ignore. He learned patience, discipline, and the importance of perseverance, understanding that the path to success was rarely straight or easy. While the world still doubted him, he grew in confidence and determination, proving that even in a place that tried to keep him down, he could rise. Every step forward, every skill mastered, and every challenge overcome became proof that he was not defined by the limits others placed upon him. These victories, though small and often unseen, were shaping a life of purpose, resilience, and unstoppable ambition, preparing him for even greater obstacles and triumphs ahead. The bigger the challenges, the stronger he became. Life threw obstacles that would have broken many, yet he faced each with unwavering determination. Opportunities he had waited for years suddenly appeared, but they came with tests far harder than any he had faced before. From competitive programs to rigorous training, every step demanded more than talent. It demanded courage, persistence, and the refusal to be intimidated. Each failure on this new path was heavier than before, yet he carried the lessons of his past like armor. He reminded himself of every hardship he had survived, every insult he had endured, and every doubt he had overcome. The fire within him burned brighter with each trial, giving him the strength to continue when others might have stopped. Moments of victory became more significant now. A teacher's recognition, a scholarship awarded, or an opportunity to perform on a bigger stage became proof that his persistence was paying off. Even when envy and criticism arose from peers or society, he learned to focus only on his goals and not on distractions. Through these trials, he understood the true meaning of resilience. Success was not just achieving a dream but enduring the storm, growing stronger, and refusing to surrender. Each step forward, no matter how difficult, was a testament to his courage. Doors that were once slammed shut began to open slowly, revealing possibilities he had imagined in secret for years. The boy who had once been invisible in classrooms and streets was now standing tall, proving that a world determined to hold him down could not define him. With every challenge faced and every obstacle overcome, he grew closer to his destiny, a life shaped not by limitations but by relentless ambition, inner strength, and a refusal to let the world dictate his worth. Having faced countless obstacles and overcome them with unwavering determination, he began to understand the impact of his journey. Every struggle, every failure, every insult he endured was no longer just his own. It had become a lesson for others who faced similar battles. He realized that his story could inspire those who were told they could not succeed, that even in a world designed to hold them back, they could rise. Through mentoring younger children, speaking about his experiences, and sharing the lessons he learned, he started to leave a mark on his community. His victories, once small and quiet, now became powerful symbols of hope, courage, and resilience. People began to see that the boy who had once been ignored could lead by example, showing that determination and self-belief were stronger than any barrier imposed by society. The world that had once doubted him now watched as he transformed obstacles into stepping stones. His journey was a message to all who felt invisible or undervalued. No matter the hardships, no matter the prejudice, your worth is not defined by others but by your courage, persistence, and belief in yourself. He became proof that a life once limited by doubt and struggle could evolve into a legacy of inspiration, empowerment, and unstoppable ambition. That he stands today not just as a survivor but as a testament to the power of resilience, courage, and unwavering belief in oneself. Every scar, every failure, every harsh word he endured has shaped him into a man who refuses to be defined by a world that once doubted him. The streets that once whispered limits now echo with the story of his rise, and the classrooms that ignored him now serve as reminders of how far he has come. His journey proves that no obstacle is insurmountable when determination burns within, and that every setback can be transformed into strength. The boy who was told he could not succeed has become a symbol of hope, inspiring others to fight for their dreams, to rise above prejudice, and to claim the life they deserve. His story leaves an indelible mark, reminding every listener that the fire inside can never be extinguished by the world outside.